In 1917, Tsar Nicholas and his royal family were on the brink of catastrophe. The sudden violence of the Russian Revolution stripped the Tsar of his power. The entire royal family was brutally murdered. A legend endures, however, that the Tsar's youngest daughter, Anastasia, escaped the massacre and is still alive today. History tells us that the Grand Duchess Anastasia was murdered by Bolshevik soldiers in the summer of 1918. Yet a single woman has for over 50 years claimed that she is Anastasia. She has been the constant focus of a romantic and baffling controversy, but her claim has never been disproved.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
In 1913, Russia proudly celebrated 300 years under Romanov rule. Tsar Nicholas was probably the richest man in the world. The Tsarina, Alexandra, was a German princess whom Nicholas married against his parents' wishes. They have an ailing son, Alexei, and 4 daughters, Olga, Titania, Maria, and Anastasia. Born in 1901, Anastasia is the youngest and most exuberant of the girls. Life for the royal family was happy and carefree. Roller skating on the royal yacht was a favorite pastime for the Tsar's daughters. A continual flurry of extravagant social events kept the Tsarina happily occupied. A reluctant ruler, Tsar Nicholas found contentment in the frivolous world of family and court. He stayed completely isolated from the poverty and ferment of his land. In much of Russia, food was in short supply. Hunger, a daily reality. 85% of Russia's people were peasants. Tsar Nicholas' father, Alexander II, had freed them from serfdom, and now they wanted to own the land they farmed. Workers were demanding higher wages and to be treated as other than slaves. Yet Tsar Nicholas remained aloof in a royal world of privilege and established order. By 1917, the disastrous war with Germany had cost Russia uncounted millions of lives. Soldiers deserted by the thousands. There were threats of revolution. In the streets of St. Petersburg, angry demonstrators demanded immediate change. Workers went on strike. Soldiers joined the people. In a desperate attempt to restore order, the Tsar's generals asked Nicholas to renounce his throne. On March 15, 1917, Tsar Nicholas abdicated. To ensure their safety, Nicholas and his family were held as prisoners. Their fate remained uncertain. Everywhere, the once sacred symbols of Tsardom were torn away. St. Petersburg became a hotbed of political struggle among several revolutionary factions. All were determined to wrest control of Russia, to create a new social order. The radical Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, won the ruthless battle for power when they stormed the Winter Palace. A Russian film heroically dramatized their conquest. The royal family was now taken to the small Ural mountain town of Ekaterinburg. They were housed in a mansion under strict Bolshevik guard. According to history, on July 17, 1918, the entire royal family was brought to the basement of the mansion and murdered. Their bodies were then hacked apart and tossed into a mine shaft. More than 50 years after the Romanov massacre, two British journalists, Tony Summers and Tom Mangold, uncovered startling new historical facts about the fate of the Russian royal family.
We got started on this in the way that most journalists start a story, which is reading somebody else's story or reading the Mail or reading newspapers. In our case, we read a letter in the Times of London which asked what had happened to the relics of the last Tsar of Russia, where were they now in Europe? And we thought that was vaguely interesting, where indeed were the relics, and what had really happened to the last Tsar of Russia and his family, and the Romanovs. We thought it was an interesting area which had never been fully investigated, and we set about it. We thought it would take about 2 weeks. It turned out to take about 6 years. But the high point of the investigation was finding the original files of the White Russian investigator Sokolov, who gave history the version of what happened to the Romanovs. We found these files at Harvard University in the States, and we found very quickly that he had cheated in what he had given to the world. In other words, the truth was not as everybody thought the truth had been.
A devout anti-Bolshevik, Nikolai Sokolov, explored the mine shaft where the Romanovs were said to be buried. Numerous bodies were unearthed, but none were those of the royal family. Yet, based on scant and tenuous evidence which included fragments of bones, several sets of corset stays, a denture which may have belonged to the Tsar's physician, and a dismembered finger, perhaps the Tsarina's, Sokolov brashly concluded that the entire royal family had been slaughtered by Bolshevik soldiers.
Our evidence, collected from a mass of testimony in many different sources, in Germany, Britain, and in the Harvard files, suggests that the females of the imperial family, that's the Tsarina and her 4 daughters, including the famous Anastasia, did not die at Ekaterinburg, but were taken away by the retreating Bolsheviks to a town about 300 miles northwest, and that there they were held for 3 or 4 months after their supposed deaths. We know they were alive from the evidence of relatives, of guards, people who'd been able to catch glimpses of them, but apparently reliable witnesses, witnesses whose evidence was completely suppressed in the official inquiry in the 20s. These witnesses tell us how the family were kept alive. Anastasia was with them up to a certain point, and then sometime in the fall, probably the 1st or 2nd week of September 1918, Anastasia made 1 and possibly 2 escape attempts.
In February 1920, a half-dead person was dragged from a Berlin canal. It was a young, unidentified woman who appeared about 20 years old. She was admitted to the Elizabeth Hospital for observation. She seemed frightened and bewildered and refused to reveal her identity to the doctors. After 2 years of silence, she claimed she was the Grand Duchess Anastasia. Dowager Empress Marie, the Tsar's mother, heard of the girl and sent relatives to investigate. None could say absolutely that the woman was Anastasia. They reported that at best, the ailing girl had only a few years left to live. Yet others recognized the girl immediately. Grand Duke Andrei, the Tsar's cousin, identified her as Anastasia. Titania Botkin, a childhood playmate, positively recognized her. For them and others, there was no doubt that the woman was Anastasia. The identity of the woman who claimed to be Anastasia became the subject of a vicious feud among the surviving Romanovs. Political intrigue and the prospect of a huge inheritance played a major role in the dispute. For the next 20 years, her life was unpredictable and erratic. She spent much of her time in and out of hospitals. She was pursued and celebrated by American high society. She lived for years as a guest of European royalty. Yet still, she had no official identity. Trapped in a Russian zone during World War II, the supposed Anastasia was rescued by a former German prince and given a small house in the Black Forest. There she lived in determined seclusion under the assumed name of Anna Anderson. Plays and movies based on her life had brought unwanted attention. She resented any intrusion, and in 1968 she abruptly left her hideaway to marry an American and thereby achieve her first legal identity. Today, she and her husband are respected members of a prestigious country club in Charlottesville, Virginia.
I am John E. Manahan of Charlottesville, Virginia, and this is my wife, the Grand Duchess Anastasia of Russia. We were married on December 27th, 1968, and we've been living here in Charlottesville and have made a number of trips around the country since. I know a lot of people are wondering, how are we to believe that you are Anastasia?
How shall I tell you who I am? In which way? Can you tell me that? Can you really prove for me who you are?
I can prove who I am.
You can believe it or you don't believe it. It doesn't matter. In no any way whatsoever. Those people who hear these mass, they get up in the bed or go to sleep when they're sleeping. They don't know what to hear or what to see, and they are not interested.
Recently, compelling new evidence has added support to the claim that Anna Anderson Manahan is the Grand Duchess Anastasia. In a house nearly concealed by untended bushes, the Manahans live a slow and rarely interrupted life. Her numerous cats are now Mrs. Manahan's main concern. Mr. Manahan is a retired history professor with a passionate interest in royal genealogy.
This is a picture, she's coming, I think. Here is Anastasia, as she was in 1929. And these are the parakeets that were brought from Honolulu by Princess Xenia of Russia after she came on the Berengaria the year after the Prince of Wales had come on the same ship. And this is the calendar, the Russian imperial calendar, showing the four sisters, the Tsar, the Tsarina, and the Tsarevich. This is about 1913 from Russia.
My kittens died for all these.
It's dirt, absolutely. Come on, sit down. This is the book, Russian America, about the sale of Alaska. Just have a seat.
And the fire.
Don't put the hat on. Take the hat off.
I don't. I keep that hat on.
Sit in the yellow chair, if you will.
In which chair?
Take the hat.
That's dark.
No, sit in this yellow chair right here.
I don't sit there.
You're going to sit in that chair. All right, that's her favorite chair to sit in. But can you see her in that chair?
Yes.
Take the hat off.
I won't.
All right, now let me see what else we have to show. Now over here are Maria and Tatiana, and I think this is Maria. And I think this tall one is Tatiana. Now actually their hair was all closer to the red that you see of the... Without your glasses, can you tell these apart? It's not very easy to do, is it? This is a rather unfamiliar thing, and it's in color. But I say Maria, Anastasia, Tatiana, Tsarina, the Tsar, the Tsarevich, and Olga seated. And I'm pretty sure that's Olga. Although she looks smaller than the others, she was actually the oldest. I believe that's the way. We've gone over this quite often, and I think that's what we settled.
In 1967, the now Mrs. Manahan made a rare public appearance outside her Black Forest home. A German court was expected to rule at any time on her long-standing claim to be the Grand Duchess Anastasia. Her court case alone had made legal history. Lasting 32 years, it was the longest-running legal battle of the century and drew much attention. She was represented by some of Germany's most eminent lawyers who virtually donated their services. Members of European aristocracy spent small fortunes trying to disprove her claim. In the end, the verdict was unsatisfactory to both sides. The Supreme Court finally ruled that her identity as Anastasia had been neither proved nor refuted. Ian Lilburn, a research historian, was present at much of the Anastasia trial. He is the acknowledged expert on the case.
Yes, I have studied the case now for 14 years, and although I began from a completely hostile attitude, I have, in the course of time, come round to believing absolutely in her identity as the Grand Duchess Anastasia. It's not so much the evidence. There is a vast amount of circumstantial evidence in her favor, but the little details and anecdotes, which in themselves mean nothing in a court of law, are vastly impressive to anyone who has experienced them in her presence, the spontaneity of her remarks and her whole bearing and manner. And her character is not the character of an impostor at all. She never cooperated properly with her lawyers. She is ready to quarrel most of all with the people who've done more for her than anyone. An impostor would bend over backwards to try to help her friends and her lawyers. She's done quite the opposite.
Today, Romanov relatives live scattered throughout the world. Grand Duke Vladimir spends part of each year in Paris. He is the assumptive heir to the Romanov throne.
I think that it's highly unlikely that Anne Anderson could be Anastasia. Because, of course, you can imagine that the question interested me very much indeed, and I went into it in great detail, and for many reasons, I think, which would be rather too long to enumerate here, I eventually came to the conclusion that she couldn't possibly be my cousin Anastasia.
I'm Prince Frederick of Saxe-Altenburg.
Prince Frederick of Saxe-Altenburg has been a consistent supporter of Anna Anderson Manahan.
My both parents were related with the Romanovs, and my own cousins have been assassinated 1918. I know Anna Anderson for 46 years and have been very often and very thoroughly with her together, and am absolutely convinced that she is a real Anastasia.
We will another time.
In the film Anastasia, Ingrid Bergman and Helen Hayes performed a fairy tale scene of recognition, which in real life never occurred.
You'll say it was all acting. She was some cheap little actress they hired for money. Well, in a way, they did hire me. I was starving after I ran from the last asylum. I had nowhere to go. Bunin found me on the bank of the Seine. Well, maybe I should have run away from him too, but I was so tired of running.
You are ill.
No. I cough only because I'm a little frightened. It doesn't mean...
Say that again.
That I cough when I'm frightened?
When you were a little girl, you coughed when you were frightened.
Marion Kaya. You have come from so far away and I've waited so long.
No, don't cry. There's no need to be frightened. No, don't speak. You're safe, Anastasia. You are with me. You're home.
Recently in Munich, fresh scientific evidence about the identity of Anna Anderson Manahan was made public. It is information which 20 years ago might have changed the course of her life. One of Germany's leading identification experts, Dr. Moritz Furtmeier, has made a careful anatomical comparison of Anna Anderson Manahan and the historical Anastasia. By matching the cardinal points of their faces, he has discovered an overwhelming degree of physical similarity. Based on facial comparisons alone, Furtmeier believes that they are one and the same. Yet more compelling evidence has come from the comparison of their ears, which, like fingerprints, are unique to each individual. A photograph of the historical Anastasia's ear was compared with the ear of Anna Anderson Manahan. Furtmeyer concluded that the two were identical. The Grand Duchess Anastasia was absolutely the woman known as Anna Anderson Manahan.
I would like to see Anastasia to live and have some reputable historians in the world say yes, they believe that this really is the last surviving daughter of the Tsar and the Tsarina. Would you like to see a happy resolution of this matter in your lifetime?
I spit on them.
And the fact remains with Anastasia, or Anna Anderson, or whoever the hell she is, we will never know. It is now too late. Even if she were to become and tell the full truth, supposing she is the Grand Duchess Anastasia, it could never be checked out. It is too late, and all we have is the dry evidence and the hunch, and that's all we're going to have.
For over 50 years, this single woman's battle for recognition has captured the public's imagination. Her plight has been one of history's most beguiling mysteries. Yet still today, only she knows for certain if she is the Grand Duchess Anastasia.
Today, for Mrs. John Manahan, the 50-year quest to establish her true identity is coming to an end. Weary and frustrated from a lifetime of claims, countercharges, and court cases, all she now asks is to be left alone.